centro de la pampa vive un pimiento. Sol y viento pa' su vida, sol y viento.
Hello, I'm Patrick Barnard. Welcome to the 19th edition of the Pimento Report. It is March 2010. Today we're going to meet one of the most dynamic environmentalists in the whole Montreal area. He comes from the southwest of the city. His name is Patrick Asch. He's the director and founder of an organization called Héritage Laurentien. He's also the most prominent promoter of a very important idea for Montreal. It is called the Montreal Greenway, la trame verte du Sud-Ouest. Why is it so important? Because it concerns this corridor of development that is opening up, that is going from the northeast to the southwest along the Saint-Jacques escarpment. That concerns Griffintown, the Turcotte renovation, the Supra Hospital, and then at the very end, a very important green space called Meadowbrook. Indeed, Montreal is at a crossroads. The question is, will Montreal live up to its pretensions as a green city, or will it miss the boat?
The Greenway concept itself is sort of a spider web of corridors for wildlife to travel through and for humans as well to travel through, that allows for biodiversity to be exchanged from one green space to the next, but at the same time that allows for the community to enjoy the areas as well. So the Montreal region is in many ways lagging behind. We have fewer green spaces protected than any other metropolitan community in North America. Now, we're working at some efforts. There is a policy for green spaces in Montreal, but it's in some ways piecemeal because it takes 10 relatively large areas, but looks at them very individually and doesn't look at the benefits of linking, of promoting them, of developing recreational activities, and of having the community enjoy them and get to know them. And there are many different benefits of protecting green spaces, and that the present policy does not take into consideration these benefits as much. Then you have, on the other hand, Vancouver, who's taken their Greenway system and has made an emphasis within the Greenway system on active transportations, alternatives for transportation, walking, biking, so that people can literally travel to work back and forth extremely easy using bicycles, using rollerblades, and they can enjoy a system that's interesting along the way. In Montreal, we have not created these links. We do have a bike path network that exists, but it does not take into advantage as much the questions of active transportation and also of allowing biodiversity to travel through from one isolated green space to the next. Now, for some regions of Montreal, this is something that's greatly in need. I take the example, for example, of the greater southwestern Montreal region. It's actually the zone in the province, probably, where the community has the least access to natural areas to enjoy. Now, the Greenway for the southwestern part of Montreal would essentially be, the best visual link would be a spider web of green corridors that allows both people, and in some cases wildlife, to go from one area to the next in the region. Birds in particular could travel from one little area with forests and another area with trees and then travel to another zone. The easiest way is if you look, for example, not far from where I live, there's a bird sanctuary by the Lachine Rapids. Now, this whole area is linked by a shoreline through which wildlife can travel relatively easily. Then you could travel through the Douglas Hospital grounds and reach Angrillon Park, which is just nearby, through the Montreal Aqueduct. So you have the shoreline, Douglas Hospital grounds could become part of the Greenway, the Montreal Aqueduct, Angrillon Park. There's a bike path that follows next to Carrefour Angrillon, and then you could travel towards the Turcotte Yards. From that area, the Turcotte Yards, you could expand in many different ways. The whole Saint-Jacques Cliffs and an area in the Turcotte Yards could be linked to the side, to Angrillon Park through there. It can also be linked to Meadowbrook.
Is Meadowbrook really crucial here? Because you began almost immediately by talking about it. Is Meadowbrook really absolutely essential, kind of the keystone of the concept?
It's a major element. It would be extremely sad to lose the one site in all of the southwestern Montreal region, cities and boroughs included, that can so easily be rehabilitated. And it's a site that's extremely well positioned. It's elevated, facing Lake St. Louis with a magnificent view. It's a site that is directly on the migratory path for birds. Meadowbrook is a key point for that. For migratory birds as a stopover, it's the best spot you can find around. For easy rehabilitation, it's the best spot around.
On Wednesday, March 10th, 2010, 150 or more people in Montreal West crowded into the auditorium of Edinburgh School. They'd come there at the invitation of Les Amis de Meadowbrook to passionately defend Meadowbrook as a natural green space.
Yes, the green space argument is primordial, but I don't think the builder is going to react to it because they will put out these specious counterfeit arguments about green space development, the same nonsense they tried back in 1990. But what they will listen to is if you come out quickly and hard, and I see the Mayor of Montreal West is here tonight, and I'm glad he's here. If the council comes out, passes resolutions, because they hold a lot of clout, more than all of us together, the town commission.
The soil is the original farmland from over a century ago. It has not even been turned and modified. It may be a golf course now, but unlike 90% of the golf courses that exist now, it's the original farmland with the original topography from a century ago. The corridors between the greens have vegetation that's typical of the forest that existed there. Rare spring flowers, rare ferns, trees that are typical of what native communities used to feed on. Hickory trees, butternut hickories, black cherries.
Just in the past weeks, the biodiversity of Meadowbrook again became an issue at Montreal City Council. Avrom Shtern of the Green Coalition addressed Richard Bergeron, member of the opposition party Projet Montréal, but also member of Montreal's executive committee. Avrom Shtern questioned Richard Bergeron about the 2009 recommendation of Montreal's Agglomeration Commission that Meadowbrook become a nature park or an eco-territory as part of the creation of a Montreal Greenway. Shtern asked, does Montreal have the will to preserve Meadowbrook?
Merci de votre question, M. Shtern. Je ne peux pas répondre exactement à la question que vous posez. Est-ce que la Ville de Montréal a la volonté? Je ne le sais pas encore. Alors, particulièrement, Meadowbrook est un site de 45 hectares magnifiquement situé à la frontière de Lachine, Ville-Saint-Pierre et Montréal-Ouest. C'est le seul grand espace vert qui subsiste dans cette partie de la ville. Alors, je vais travailler du plus fort que je pourrai pour que cet espace non seulement demeure vert, et en l'occurrence, présentement, c'est un golf, mais devienne un parc public.
Merci.
I think they have to try to find a solution that will consider protecting it in a larger focus, in a larger plan. I think that's something that you cannot get away from. The development that is proposed for Meadowbrook aims at taking a green space and destroying it. Now, they want to make it a green development by reconstituting green spaces on half the land. But the fact remains, you're still destroying a green space to do it. The government of Quebec reached in 2009 its goal of having 8% of the land in Quebec protected. Out of that, they have less than 0.1% protected in all of the greater metropolitan Montreal region and 0% on the island of Montreal. Now, Montreal is unique as far as biodiversity goes because of the unique conditions that we have. The soil from the old Champlain Sea is extremely rich, and the rivers and the rapids are extremely shallow. And it's created conditions where biodiversity, forest species, are unique to the Montreal region. Many of the plants and many of the animals in the province or in North America are characteristic of really this region more than anywhere else. And if Quebec wants to protect biodiversity as a whole, they should try to protect some of the biodiversity in Montreal.